Welcome back to our channel, Modeling Success Successfully. I'm your host, Gorman Kitar. Today's podcast is going to be around business topic. As you already read the title, how I build a successful business in 2021 from zero customers. That was actually middle of pandemic. It was January 1st, 2020. So January 1st, 2020, that's going to basically put you right in the no, actually, there you go. Because of the pandemic, I got my years confused, as a matter of fact. It was January 1st, 2021. Year flies by fast. I can't believe we're going into the second year of pandemic already. That's how behind I am as far as keeping up with the date, and that explains the reason of this podcast, because I've been very, very busy with the new business that we opened, the wholesale business that we opened, which the topic is going to be about that today. How I opened the business in January 1st of 2021 this year, and how it's going, how we're on pace of doing 350,000 plus this year alone, which is the first year from zero customers, going from middle of the pandemic. So first things first, let me actually bring over the whiteboard and put over a few things on the whiteboard so you guys can get a chance to see exactly what I'm talking about. So first things first, what did I do? Right in the beginning, January 1st came. It was in the middle of pandemic. We decided that, you know what, we were in a retail business before that, and that was actually doomed as non-essential, as a non-essential business. So as a non-essential business, we were actually told by the city, Los Angeles health department, to shut down so we could curb the spread of the virus. And we obviously followed suit. We closed it down. What that did is it killed the retail market completely, and it's been ever since. Everyone is struggling to return back. 50% of the business is gone ever since. However, let's get back to the point. Just a little history of where I come from, so you know where this information is coming from. I'm not just talking out of nowhere. This comes from the experience I've had, throughout my career. I've been I've been working for myself past 13 years, and I was in a service field business, and then transitioned into item based business. And as far as retail, we were dealing with an end consumer, meaning we're dealing with the people who actually buy it and use it. They don't go ahead and turn around and sell it again. So we were the retail store, and we were dealing with an end user. Pandemic happened. The retail stores were, the most of them were deemed non-essential. Therefore, we transitioned into an essential business. An essential business at the time, I looked around and asked myself, what are the essential businesses here? What kind of essential business I can get into that the city department, health department can look at it and say, these they do essential businesses stay open, and because they provide the goods and services to the public that is needed even during pandemic. When I looked around, I realized that wholesale was one of the businesses that was essential. You got your 7-Elevens were open. A lot of people, including myself, were confused because 7-Elevens were considered technically a retail store, and they were staying open during pandemic. But however, after doing some research and ask around, you realize that it all came down to the people who decide the titles on the businesses, whether this business is essential, that business is non-essential. Therefore, the one stays open, one doesn't. At the time, whichever business had a health department clearance. If you live in America, if you live in California, you would notice that restaurants have this permits that rate the restaurant cleanness, so on and so forth, maintenance. Usually, you'll see a white paper, and it says with blue letters A or B or whatever the rating is. That paper is given by the health department. So businesses that had that health clearance were clearly going through under different paperwork and procedures and qualifications to obtain their licenses to open their doors for public than, for example, I and the 90% of the businesses were. doing it at the time. Hence why that was the decision maker that these businesses are going to be essential and those businesses are going to be non-essential. Hence why these businesses can stay open and those businesses need to close. So that decision was not made by the people at the health department. They just woke up and said, oh, we're going through pandemic, we gotta curb the virus, so therefore we have to do something. So they and flipped a coin and decided, let's go this way. No, not at all. In the beginning, a lot of people got confused about that. They thought it's done like that. But after really looking a little deeper into it, you realize that they really went after businesses who did not go under thorough clearance and licensing process upon opening their businesses versus the other ones did. Hence why whoever already had the health department clearance, they were more keen to keeping the businesses and customers clean than the businesses that did not go through those procedures. That's why they went from essential to non-essential. Long story short, that's when, once I understood the difference of essential and non-essential, that's when I made a decision. I want to be in an essential business as well, because first of all, we don't know how long this pandemic is going to last. Second of all, we don't know if this is the first one. Well, we know for sure this is the first one, but we don't know if there is going to be second, third, or fourth. We don't know. Nobody knows the future. Obviously, I pray to God it never happens, and I'm pretty sure most of you, if not all of you guys, feel the same way. So that's not the case at all. But it's better to keep it realistic, and it's better to be ready and nothing happen than be not ready and then be caught off surprise, especially in business. So on that note, I decided to go into the wholesale business. Wholesale business, we basically did the following. Once the retail store closed, we had to go ahead and service our customers somehow. So through the wholesale accounts that were essential, we set up accounts that could be delivered to our customers through the wholesale. When that was happening, we were getting, yes, about 90% of our cash flow was low, 95% of our cash flow was down, but there was that 5%. That 5% cash flow within 2 months that we were shut down, we were able to accumulate a couple of $1,000, about $8,000. So the reason I'm mentioning that $8,000 is simple, because that's going to be the seed money, and $8,000 here. Let's do this. $8,000 is going to be the seed money, and that's something that you're going to actually need to pay attention to. So start seed. So start money, seed money. Let's put it this way. Seed money, 8,000. This is the money we were able to accumulate after doing 2 months of deliveries while we were shut down during the pandemic. With this 8,000, once the retail stores opened up halfway, meaning we were able to do curbside, we were actually trying to get the business back. But ever since, we're still trying. It's a work in progress. But however, the wholesale, we were able to get $8,000 doing deliveries. With that $8,000, we decided to get into the wholesale business, not knowing what the future holds. So in order to get a wholesale, in order to get into a wholesale business, you need to ask yourself multiple questions. Even if you're getting in a retail business, you need to ask yourself multiple questions. However, I'm going to talk about how I did it, and you can figure out how you can implement it in however you're doing. If you happen to have any questions, you can comment down below and let me know. I'll do my best to answer. But this is what I did. From the $8,000, you obviously have to incorporate your business. Now, I decided to go with an LLC. And for if you're not sure about the terms that I'm using, then definitely write them down and do a research on your own time and talk to your accountant, because I'm not giving you any business advice, accounting advice. I'm just sharing with the things that I've done and how they're working for me. So out of the 8,000, I decided to incorporate the business, the wholesale business. In order to the reason I decided to do this is because I'm looking at long term. I want to have, for example, let's say 500 customers in let's say 2 years from now. In order to do that, customers are going to need to write you checks. Therefore, you need to pay taxes, and the best way of doing that is by incorporating your business. So I decided to go with an LLC. So in LLC, let's say LLC, it's going to cost you $1,500 to open an LLC. So minus 1500 out of that. And then next thing you needed to do, you need to obviously get your licensing. Whatever business you do, you need to obtain your proper licensing with your city, state, and make sure that you are covering all the areas around, because there are cities like city of Los Angeles that, for example, you have a certain license for the state, and since you're doing a business in the city of Los Angeles, that same exact license with similar fees, if not identical, you need to obtain for the city of LA as well, alongside. So basically, same. It ends up costing you double. Long story short, you need to figure out where you're doing business in and what type of business you're doing, hence why what kind of permit you need to obtain. In my case, it cost me about $1,500 to obtain the proper licensings for me to legally make a transaction and sell to make a wholesale transaction to a retail store, not an end user. Now we're selling to retail stores, and retail stores are selling it to an end user. End user is the consumer.